Hello, BookTube, on a very, very beautiful Tuesday. Overcast, but it's not snowy anymore. It's not windy anymore. It's not cold anymore. It's not raining anymore. It's not sleeting anymore. It's just a gray, overcast day. No painful, squinty vampire sunlight. Just a lovely gray day. A wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. And I have some mail that I thought I would open. I've been neglecting the mail, so we will try to get back on the horse again here. Just got a few packages here. We don't need to take long. I'm asking for quite a bit of your attention today. That's just feeling happy, and so I want your company. But even so, 10 videos in one day is probably too much. So let's. Oh, great. Okay. All right. This first one is a finished copy of something that we've seen already. This is a February release. Yes. Yeah. This is late February, so this is on my February pile, which is not domesticated yet. I have not gone over there and done it. I need to do that. I have all my my workbooks, my new releases, all the physical copies. I've got a ton of e-copies, but all the physical copies are all over there, and they're all organized by month. And by now I should have the February shelf completely domesticated and up on top, all arranged by February, and then inside of February, all arranged by release date. And I don't. I don't do that. I haven't done that yet. I have a platform right over there, on the top of a bookcase. I put the laptop on there, and I have a whole bunch of little slips of paper so that I can tab every book with its release date and any notes that I need to remember about it, so I don't need to look through it to know that. I can just pick it up and read that. And I use the laptop to find the release dates and to remind any reminders that I need to note on those notes, and I haven't done it. It's actually fun to do. I don't know why I'm putting it off. I guess maybe I'm putting it off because it's much more fun to do when I can do it with another book critic. When I can have a certain weathered old book critic from New York come up and do that together, that's always a lot more fun. And the timing just didn't work out, so I know that's not going to happen, and so I'm going to have to do it alone, and I'm not, and I should. I haven't yet, but this is a finished copy of something that we've already seen. This is Welcome to the Hunam-dong Bookshop by Huang Bo Room. This is the hardcover that's going to be in your bookstores. This is translated by Shanna Tan, and it's from a hit, right? A bestseller. Yeah, it's a bestseller in Korea. It's called a charming slice of life novel, and this was the author's debut, I believe. I'm sure that it's made her a pile of money. Became an instant smash hit with Korean readers, selling over 150,000 copies. Now, the irresistible bestseller will be available in English to readers for the first time, with an effervescent translation by Singaporean translator Shanna Tan. So, what is the story here? Yong-ju is burned out. With her high-flying career, demanding marriage, and busy life in Seoul, she knows she should feel successful, but all she feels is drained. Yet an abandoned dream nags at her, and in a leap of faith she leaves her old life behind. Quitting her job and divorcing her husband, she moves to a small residential neighborhood outside of the city where she opens the Hunam-dong Bookshop. For the first few months, all she does is cry, which deters visitors. But ordinarily, the crying all day happens after you've been a bookstore employee, not right away. It's inevitable once you work in a bookstore, but it doesn't usually happen right away. But the long hours in the shop give her time to mull over what makes a good bookseller and store, and she starts to read hungrily, host author events, and develop her own book-selling philosophy. Surrounded by friends and writers doing the same serious soul-searching themselves and the books that connect them all, she charts a new path as the bookshop transforms into an inviting space for lost souls to rest, heal, and remember that it's never too late to start all over again and to finally find your own happiness. The author was a software engineer who entered and won a writing contest. How amazing! So when did this come out in Korea? 2022, and it was a huge. I mean, I vaguely heard about this before. I think I'd heard about this before it was translated. Maybe I read about it in Publishers Weekly and just was anticipating it that way. But this comes out in late February in this hardcover. Great. All right. Well, so this replaces the. Let's get the date front and center there. This replaces the advance copy, and but it doesn't necessarily jump to the reading pile tonight because it's late in February. And I'm going to be reviewing this myself for Open Letters Review. So there's lots of stuff in February. Lots more stuff comes before this. So definitely, I haven't read the ARC that I got. So I will just read it in the finished copy. But maybe not right away. Maybe I'll give it a little while. Let's see here. Let's move on. I wonder if these will all be finished copies for February. That'd be terrific. I'll use as many February books as I can get. Let's see what this next one is. Okay, this is from Random House. This comes out in February. Great. This is going to be a trade paperback original, so this is what it's going to look like. It comes out at the end of February. It comes out a week after the Hunam-dong bookshop. And this is C.J. Cook. It's called A Haunting in the Arctic. Very pretty, all blue thing. By the author of The Lighthouse Witches, which a lot of you liked. That was popular. I also wanted to say that was popular on Goodreads, but I'm still learning Goodreads. I'm still working my way around on Goodreads. I am now an active presence on Goodreads. Every written review that I do, I also post on Goodreads. That's step number 1. Step number 2, which I mean to do, probably I'll start in February, is to start putting reviews on Goodreads of books that don't have a full-length review on Open Letters or anywhere else. I still read them. I still have a few thoughts about them. Still mean to do that, to flesh that out. So feel free to go over to Goodreads and add me as a friend. I don't know how many friends I have on Goodreads, and I don't know what use I make of them. I imagine, is there a way for friends to talk to each other on Goodreads? Maybe we could set up a reading group on Goodreads. I really don't know how it works. I really ought to look at YouTube videos of how Goodreads works. I really should do that. But anyway, what is this one about? As the cold creeps in this winter, oh boy, whole subgenre of the writing industry that has got to learn something new. It's not going to be cold in the winter. That's going to feel so weird to your children when they're your age. It's going to feel so weird to them how prevalent that is in books. And also, they will also note that in all the books, all the novels that they're reading, in the middle of summer, people go outside to Central Park to have a picnic. That's also going to strike them as really strange to do. You wouldn't do that. We hope you'll settle in with the chilling new novel by C.J. Cook. Centered around the Oarmen, a deserted shipwreck off the coast of Iceland, the novel follows an explorer who uncovers the ship's dark past, riddled with lies, cruelty, and murder. Okay, so is that all you're going to tell me? Is that all you're going to tell me about this? Okay, here we go. The year is 1901 in Dundee, Scotland. Nikki is attacked, then wakes up on board the Ormond, a whaling ship embarked on what could be its last voyage. With land still weeks away, it's just her, the freezing ocean, and the crew, and they're all owed something only she can give them. Now, over 100 years later, the wreck of the Ormond has washed up on the forbidding remote coast of Iceland. It's scheduled to be destroyed, but explorer Dominique feels an inexplicable pull to document its last days, even though those who have ventured onto the wreck before her have met seemingly grisly ends. On board the ship, Dominique's discoveries will change everything, because she'll soon realize she's not alone. Something has walked the floors of the Ormond for almost a century. Something that craves revenge. Would remains of a 1901 sunken vessel, I assume it's wood, would those wash up on shore? Don't sunken vessels usually just settle and become biomes at whatever part of the seafloor they land on? Am I not remembering? Am I not thinking of that correctly? I've almost never remembered a time where I've heard of a ship washing up on shore that's 100 years old. They just don't tend to do that. What would cause them to do that? It's surface currents that would wash you to shore, and you're not on the surface anymore. Maybe this will explain it. I can't remember if I read The Lighthouse Witches. Off the top of my head, I can't remember if I did. I'll have to check and see. But then we have a box, and then we'll be done, because this video does not need to go on forever. I do not need to be making, wonderful day though it is, I don't need to be making videos for you all day long. I want to give you time to watch other booktubers, not just me. So we'll just do this one, and then we'll be done. here. Uh, Invoice. All right, today of all days, I don't want to be touching an invoice. Let's see what this is. Okay, it's from the great folks at Princeton. Oh, it's a June release. This is the latest release that I have. Wow. Oh, it's a David Murphy book. I'll have to remember to send it to him. This is by Alexandre Lefebvre. Are you translated? It's a weird name. It's not an Irish name. Are you a translated work? No, you're not. This is called Liberalism as a Way of Life. What have we got here? Oh, no, there's nothing on the back. Let's just read the inside then. Why liberalism is all you need to lead a good, fun, worthy, and rewarding life. And how you can become a better and happier person by taking your liberal beliefs more seriously. Where do you get your values and sensibilities from? If you grew up in a Western democracy, the answer is probably liberalism. Conservatives are right about one thing. Liberalism is the ideology of our times, as omnipresent as religion once was. Yet, as the author argues in this book, many of us are liberal without fully realizing it or grasping what it means. Misled into thinking that liberalism is confined to politics, we fail to recognize that it's the water we swim in, saturating every area of private life, shaping our psychological and spiritual outlooks and influencing our moral and aesthetic values, our sense of what is right, wrong, good, bad, funny, worthwhile, and more. This eye-opening book shows how so many of us are liberal to the core, why liberalism provides the basis for a good life, and how we can make our lives better and happier by becoming more aware of and more committed to the beliefs we already hold. A lively, engaging, uplifting guide to living well, the liberal way, this book is filled with examples from television, movies, stand-up comedy, and social media, from Parks and Recreation to The Good Place to the Borat movies to Hannah Gadsby. Notice something where the examples don't come from? Real life. But that's okay. Along the way, you'll also learn about the 17 benefits of being a liberal, including generosity, humor, cheer, gratitude, tolerance, and peace of mind, and practical exercises to increase these rewards. Also, you get to be whatever sex you want. My joking is a way to point to the main flaw with this book. I've read the book, of course. But I shouldn't say flaw, I should say obstacle. The main obstacle to this book is not going to be convincing people that they already have liberal beliefs. I have a feeling I know what this author is going to say about that. That anything humanist is liberal, which is entirely true. The problem isn't going to be trying to convince people that they already have liberal beliefs. The problem with this book is going to be detoxifying the word liberal. Even if we leave aside what the alt-right has done to the word liberal, you can just concentrate on the damage that liberals have done to the word liberal. It's not, in common parlance in the UK and the US at least, it's a sneer, it's an insult, and deservedly so. When you mention it now, the thing that comes to most people's mind is blue-haired weirdo activists gluing themselves to sidewalks. And no one wants to be that, and no one wants to be told they already are that. And I know this author is not going to say that. I think I know this author is going to say that what he is referring to as liberalism here is humanism. It's the Enlightenment. It's the values of the Enlightenment. It's tolerance, rationality, all that sort of thing. I know that I feel certain that's what he's going to do. He's going to go for that and say, you already feel that way. And of course you do. It's a point I make on this channel all the time. It's the zealots on either end of the scale that have the megaphones, but they don't represent the huge 80% of the people in between them who are that way. Wouldn't. It's a long diatribe. I'll save it for the review, unless David Murphy wants to review this. I've never run a review on Open Letters Review that's just expletives. but whether you define it that way or not, and you want to define it that way, that's fine. You're still going to have to get around the fact that this title is insulting its readers by virtue of what the common view of liberalism is in this benighted era of the 20th century, of the 21st century. So I don't know. Will the author deal with that first? Get that out of the way, or is just going to pretend it's not there? Pretend that any vilification of liberals is only the result of the alt-right. That is not true. If you pretend that, Alexandre, who are you when you're at home, by the way? A professor of politics and philosophy at the University of Sydney. Okay. All right. Well, I knew that he was a professor, but I was gonna say, where you are makes a big difference on whether or not you believe this and in what light you believe it. But that actually isn't true. Now, that actually isn't true. There are huge alt-right, far-right, revanchist right, quasi-fascist movements gaining strength in Australia every day. It doesn't matter where you are. It's growing in strength everywhere thanks to social media. And the fact that the world's foremost unrepentant, violent fascist was not executed by the country he tried to overthrow. They just said, well, sorry. Well, they talk about conservatism. Now, we've never done it that way before, so we're never going to change. Sorry. You just keep spewing your hatred, spewing your bigotry, spewing your poison into the bloodstreams, not just of the country, but of the whole world. Keep doing that. Just keep doing that. And what's that? Your operatives? What's that? One of them was actually convicted of contempt of Congress and should be in jail, or should have been in jail for the last 10 months, but isn't, and is instead fomenting rebellion in a whole bunch of liberal democracies. Oh, yeah, he can just keep doing that. Now, yeah, he can keep doing it. For $1,500, I could pay an agent in any three-letter agency anywhere in the federal government to walk up to him at supper with a silencer, blow his brains out. And then all of a sudden, Uruguay and Paraguay, Germany, Austria can have free elections where they aren't mucked with, where there aren't attempts at an overthrow or an actual overthrow for an authoritarian figure who is only going to pay homage to Donald Trump. One guy is doing that. Steve Bannon is doing that. In every country that has an election, he's doing that because he's allowed to. It's a virulent poison, but we're not going to assassinate him. We're not even going to imprison him. We don't even want to inconvenience him. We're not even going to deplatform his podcast. No, sorry. No, it's just not the way we do things. So we'll see. It's not just those people characterizing liberalism that makes it look bad. It's liberals that make it look bad as well. I mean, it's Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon mocking liberalism at every Klan rally that they hold. That's on one end of the spectrum. Keep in mind, though, on the other end of the spectrum is a candidate for the United States Supreme Court who was asked what a woman is and said, "I'm not a doctor." So you've got it on both sides. So, but anyway, I'm arguing this book long, and I'm certainly not. If I'm not going to read a book at the end of February now, I'm certainly not going to read one for what was this, June? No, not at all. But interesting subject. I hope the book does well. If I can't get anybody to review it, I will certainly spiritedly review it myself. But anyway, that's your mail for today. No periodicals. No need to go on for 40 minutes. You've had enough Steve videos for one day. They're just 3 interesting books. And then we wrap it up. We'll do mail again the next time I have mail. Probably there'll be more today. I'll save it and we'll do some tomorrow. So I'll wrap this up for now, and I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.